Back to the daily grind. The channel's getting false flagged by triggered trolls, so make sure you subscribe to the new channel. Let's get to the MMA news. With Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor happening in 3 days, you might be thinking, who the fuck is that guy? Whenever you see in the title, Sean O'Malley's making his UFC debut against Terrion Ware, the Ultimate Fighter 26 finale. Let's fucking go! And what I'll say to you, who is Sean O'Malley? What I'll say is, welcome to the Sugar Show. Sean O'Malley is one of the skinny boys. Fuck you, Tam Matt. Coming from Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. He was he stole the show on an entire episode. The episode before, Dana White handed out 2 contracts. On his episode, Dana White could have handed out 2 contracts, but his fight was so spectacular you had to give the contract just to Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley came out, man. He was a spectacular performance. It was he's undefeated with 8 fucking straight wins. It was a spectacular knockout on Dana White Contender Series, Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, and after it, man, I made a video of the reaction, said instant classic, because man, his fighting style in that fight, it literally was like it was spectacular to watch, man. You know, he's a guy that he's coming out here to entertain. He's not trying to go to a boring fight. You know, he reminds you a little bit of Justin Gaethje by his mentality. You know, he's a guy that thinks about you as the fan. He cares about, you know, trying to entertain. He understands this is the entertainment business, not the winning business. So even though he's got all wins right now, it's possible he could lose in the UFC. I mean, he's stepping into the highest pinnacle of combat sports as far as the UFC is concerned. He's going into, you know, now he's fighting sharks. He wasn't in the UFC. The guy he was fighting on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series was a very formidable opponent. The guy had never been knocked out before. He was a wrestler, so even though Sean O'Malley, you know, is more of a striker and he's entertaining in that fashion, he still showed he was able to get out of some bad positions as far as bad wrestling, defensive positions. He showed some defensive wrestling. He stood up and got the fight back to where he wanted it and knocked the guy out. It was a fucking amazing fight. I instantly became a huge Sean O'Malley fan, and I stated that fact. And then after that, Sean O'Malley became the first official UFC fighter to ever comment on one of the channel's videos. Still the only, and motherfucking, it is what it is. I was a Sean O'Malley fan before that, and I'm still gonna be a Sean O'Malley fan. I said that. I'm rolling till the wheels fall off, and it is what it is. So Sean O'Malley set to make his UFC debut versus Terrion Ware. Terrion Ware, he's fought 1 time in the UFC previously, and he lost that fight. It was at the Romero vs. Whitaker pay-per-view. Now, he's a bantamweight. He lost that fight, but Terrion Ware still has some experience. I believe I forget his exact record, but I know he has over 20 fights in the game. So both of these guys, you know, he's only fought 1 time in the UFC. Sean O'Malley, this is his first fight in the UFC. This will be a good way for Sean O'Malley to test himself. You know, he's fighting against another guy that's a UFC newcomer, but still has some experience. So, and if I remember correctly, I did research before this video. Terrion Ware has also never been knocked out. So on top of being an experienced fighter, he's also never been knocked out. So if Sean O'Malley's able to come in here and knock this guy out, that's going to be fucking amazing for Sean O'Malley's trajectory. But either way, Sean O'Malley, he's got the look, man. He's got the fucking the smarts, because he came out there and said what he needed to say. You know, he's got the talk. Well, he said that shit. Welcome to the Sugar Show. He's got his mind right, man. He's got I had to leave that bitch alone to get my mind right. That song's old as fuck, I know. It was just on my head. But Sean O'Malley's got his mind right. He knows what he needs to do to get to become a star in this game. And with that being said, I'm sure the UFC will appreciate it and assist him on his way to becoming one of the next big things in the UFC. I made the last video and called it Rising Star, because that's what I believe this fucking kid is. Sean O'Malley's that fucking dude. Welcome to the Sugar Show. I can't fucking wait for this event. I'll be tuned in from bell to bell to watch this fight. Terrion Ware versus Sean O'Malley, and I'm predicting Sean O'Malley. I don't know if I'm predicting him to get the knockout, but that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm rooting for. We'll do the predictions as the Ultimate Fighter as this comes. It's not until like December 8th, so we've got about 3 months until this fight happens. But I know I can't fucking wait for it. And then after that, man, it is what it is. Let the haters know what the fuck you tab in the comments, dude. There was an old couple laying in bed, and the man says to his wife, If you want to have sex, pull my dick once. If you don't want to have sex, pull on my dick 100 times.